It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Bob Boyd Chevrolet in Biloxi. Buy a Chevrolet the Bob Boyd way.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. So letting us start off the day with a lot of cloud cover, but I think like yesterday, those clouds eventually break and we'll see some sunshine. You can already see a little bit of sunshine peeking out on the top right view, Gulfport I-10 and 605, a little bit of sun trying to break out there. I also think that eventually we'll see some breaking out over Back Bay. So just give it a couple hours, we'll get there. Certainly a lot better than earlier this morning. This was by the Beau Rivage at 4 in the morning. You couldn't see anything, but it didn't take very long. Once we get past about 4 or 5 in the morning, we started to see some of that fog clearing from that one site. And the rest of the time lapse just shows some clouds passing through as we got things started during the 8 o'clock hour. Here's a futurecast for today, looking at some clouds in the first part of the day, but then they kind of clear up, and we're seeing some sunshine as well. You don't really see much rain showing up, right? The computer model shows maybe a little stray pop-up shower near Lake Pontchartrain. That one could just as easily be closer to our coast than the computer model initially thinks. So that's why you shouldn't be surprised if you see some raindrops today, but overall chance is looking pretty slim. And that's not just today, but probably tomorrow too. We're not going to see a ton of rain in the area. So the focus is going to be temperature because, yeah, it's spring-like. Temperatures are feeling more like mid-April than early March. Most of you south of I-10 today, 70s. But if you go inland away from the cooler water, then you're going to find some 80s. And in some cases, it's kind of getting a little toasty. I mean, George County closing in on the middle 80s this afternoon, so that is certainly not what you would expect in early March. Now, if we take a look at the satellite and first alert radar, I'm going to get out my drawing tool so that I can help paint the picture of what's going on. So I want you to draw your attention to what's happening in the Gulf. Got some little pop-up showers, clusters of rain, one right there, another south of Louisiana's coast. Which way are they going? These guys appear to be drifting up toward the north very slowly but surely. Okay, so we got some motion on those. I want to zoom out just a little more. And I guess I'll replace my arrows. One there and one there. All right, so what about this activity over Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma? Which direction is that stuff going? It's generally going toward the north and east, right? And then, okay, what about this activity that's up here near Virginia? I guess we might have to move up a little bit more to see that. So which direction is this activity near Virginia, near Pennsylvania? Which direction is that going? It's going to the east. So you get the idea that we've got this circulation that's going up and around like that. And that is what literally tells you exactly where the high pressure, which has clockwise circulation, is located. So a lot of work, but I showed my work. And the end result is this solution, high pressure system located right about there. And this is why any rain that is developing near Texas, near near Missouri, it can't come down to our coast. It's got to ride around that clockwise circulation up and over the ridge. That's important because it means that as long as that is the case, we're not going to be dealing with a decent chance of rain here. So that's why any rain that we see today, you know, maybe it'll be some of this activity in the Gulf. Maybe as that tries to roll upward, we'll see. But that basically would be the only way we can see some rain here, some pop-up showers. I think we'll see another round of that potentially tomorrow. And then as we get to Saturday, finally, the high might begin to slide just a little bit to the east. And that is what could allow for some of this activity to finally begin actually approaching from the west. So here's a look at today's map for rain. And you can see on Thursday's map, again, looks like the high pressure system located well out here. And you can see that wind circulating clockwise around it like that. And that means if we see any moisture in the Gulf, maybe that tries to roll toward the coast. We'll see who can get some of those pop-up showers that might pop up overhead or might pop up over the Gulf and roll northward toward our coast. But the chance for rain today, again, only about 20% for our local area. And meanwhile, you do have this stalled front basically located back here. And so it's not able to move and advance eastward because the high pressure has been sitting there blocking it. But like I said, that could change as we go down the line. The weekend, the chance for rain, as you can see, does go up. Right now it's kind of steady at a low chance. It goes up a little bit as we go to Friday, and then it kind of stays steady through Saturday before going up a little bit more as we go to Saturday night, Sunday night. So just to recap, that's why if you're seeing the rain chances increasing for the weekend, this is the explanation why. It's that plains frontal system that slowly but surely will begin to move eastward. The good news, if you're not wanting a weekend washout, is that the heaviest rain is going to probably stay north of our coast. So our neighbors in northern Mississippi, they're probably going to be in the target area for the heaviest totals. But that doesn't mean we're going to stay completely dry here in South Mississippi. We do have a 30 to 50% chance for some pop-up showers and storms this weekend. And some of that could be some heavier downpours, I think mainly towards Saturday night and Sunday. Some of this could fall apart before reaching our coast. We'll get to the futurecast for the weekend, but I do want to quickly touch on those rain totals. So you look at this map, this is through the end of Saturday, the latest computer model projection of how much rain and where the heaviest rain could be. And we're seeing some of those heaviest amounts, basically northern Arkansas, eastern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, western Tennessee. That could be where we get, over the next 3 days, the majority of the rain piling up. And when we plot on some of those rain totals, you can see in that zone is where we're seeing rain totals approaching 2 inches, maybe even topping 2 inches. Outside of that zone, you really don't have quite as much showing up. You generally have along our coastline maybe a half inch, maybe less than a half inch. So it's not looking like a ton. And there's even a gradient to that if you want to be, even with an even more fine-tooth comb. Areas down south of I-10, maybe you get less than a quarter inch. But then areas that are generally north of I-10, maybe y'all get closer to a half inch, maybe a half inch to 1 inch of rain there. Now we'll do the timing for you. Here's today. You don't expect to see much on our part of the map here because, like I said, other than just a few stray pop-up showers, maybe a stray Gulf shower rolling in, there's really not much in the way of rain. There, did you see them, the little pop-up showers? Now, tomorrow, again, watching this area here to see if there's some pop-up showers. In general, there might be a few, but not very many. The target area for Friday, tomorrow, for severe weather on Friday night, that's going to be off to our north and east. So the Storm Prediction Center watching this area here for severe weather on Friday and Friday night. That's going to stay northwest of our coast, so we don't have to worry about that in the local area. But if you do have some travel plans, they're at a level 3. That's a scale that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the higher that level means the higher the probability of seeing things like tornadoes, damaging straight line winds, large hail. So that could be a problem for parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. But locally, again, other than just you can literally see them, just the little bitty pop-up showers that show up here on the map across our area at times on Friday. We're going to fast forward to Saturday though, because that's going to be when we start to see that threat spreading a little bit more east. And you see this green color here, that's a level 1. So we do actually have a risk of damaging thunderstorms in parts of our state on Saturday and Saturday night. But the timing is key with this. We're stopping the clock on Saturday morning. Where do we see the thunderstorms setting up? Are they down here on the coast? Not really. But they are in the northern part of the state. So northern Mississippi getting Saturday morning storms. Now, as we go further in time, we can go to the middle of Saturday, Saturday afternoon. Do we see storms down here on the coast? Not so much. but we do see some storms in the northern part of the state, Oxford, Tupelo, Greenville, closing in on Starkville. So again, your timing Saturday, not really looking like it's going to be us on the coast. If you have weekend plans, you're trying to dodge the raindrops, Saturday might be an okay day in South Mississippi. It's not going to be rain-free everywhere in South Mississippi. I do think that we're going to see some hit or miss pop-up showers and storms. But as far as the system rain, the high pressure has been blocking rain systems from coming our way. You know, there's a difference between pop-up showers and system rain. The system rain not going to come down to the coast until maybe Saturday night. But here's the thing. Thunderstorms, what are they fueled by? Heat energy. And you get the maximum heating of the day in the afternoon. So this would likely be around 3 p.m., 6 p.m., going to be when you find some of the greatest potential for severe weather in Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana. Those are going to be areas that get that. But once we get to Saturday night, we're already starting to see some of the activity weakening because we're losing that daytime heating. So the idea is that even though, okay, Jackson's seeing some sunset storms on Saturday, and this stuff is still heading down toward the coast, and we're going to have to keep an eye on it for Saturday night to see how close some of those storms can get to us. The idea here is that perhaps the weakening trend would continue since it's getting into the overnight hours, losing the daytime heating, and that's kind of exactly what the computer modeling is showing. The storms don't look anything like they do. They look like a shell of their former selves by 9 or 10 p.m. in Hattiesburg compared to what they looked like in the afternoon when they were closer to Greenville, right? So as long as that weakening trend continues, maybe some of the rain falls apart before reaching our coast. But it's still going to get our chances to increase, especially around Saturday night into Sunday. So on your 7-day forecast, it shows up as a 30% chance Friday, 30% chance Saturday. It would be a 40% chance on Saturday night, and continuing with a 40% chance on Sunday. And those numbers are not finalized. As we get more high-resolution model data, we'll be able to make some last-minute adjustments as we fine-tune those rain chance numbers. But at least as of Thursday, that's the look at the update for today. By the way, temperatures, you find no cool down here, but there's actually a couple of systems. So if I will, last thing I'll do before I go is right on here. So the rain chances that we get over the weekend, those are from the first system. So there's, let me write this for you, sorry. The rain chances that we get over the weekend, those are from the first system. So that, we'll just call it System 1. That moves into South Mississippi around Saturday night into Sunday. But there's a second system that is within our 7-day forecast. That one probably going to be a little bit stronger and probably ultimately wind up with a better rain chance than the weekend one. But System 2, that would be around the middle of next week, perhaps around next Wednesday. If we can get that one to move through, maybe we get a little cool down behind it. The modeling is showing that we could see some of the temperatures dropping around the second half of next week. Of course, it is more than 7 days away, so whatever cool down we have there is not, locked in or anything, but we can see as of today's update, it does show those numbers dropping from around 80 on Tuesday, Wednesday to around 70 next Thursday. And the morning temperatures dropping from almost 70 next Tuesday morning, next Wednesday morning, down into the cooler 50s next Friday morning, next Saturday morning. And it does not last very long. This cool down, maybe it's 2 days long, and then you're back to maybe another warm up for that weekend, March 14th. So as we move further away from the start of winter, closer to the start of spring, cool downs are going to be less frequent and less powerful, something to expect this time of year in South Mississippi. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams, and we'll see you again next time.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Bob Boyd Chevrolet in Biloxi. Buy a Chevrolet the Bob Boyd way.